I'm really big on caffeine. Less range of motion, but I also don't need to kick off the slides. I am a fiend for not hitting legs, I will say. But on the same slides, make you feel like in the middle of the third song, like, ooh man, wish it is the bathroom before the gig. Relatively tanned, and I'm still very pale, but I've had a number of people ask me how I stay fit and stay active while I'm on tour, and kind of what I do to maintain and possibly even get a little bit of extra muscle going on. Just, looking good on stage, feeling fit, and keeping strong enough to, lift all the amps, lift all the gear, push road cases, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go for a quick day in the life. I'm not on tour right now, this is just my friendly local neighbourhood, but I'm just going to tell you what I've done the most recent day that I was on tour. So the first thing that I did was I woke up early in the morning, just out of choice, and I went for a walk to try and find a coffee. I'm really big on caffeine, and it also helps out for, early mornings, late nights. I'm big on the coffees. That was my first port of call. I believe that I went for a run on the way there, so we're going to do that now. So one of the things that I like to think about is something that's easy enough and rewarding enough, but that you don't have to really go out of your way to do. So things like going to the gym in a place like Tamworth, it's not really viable. And also, if I go to the gym, I'm going to spend like an hour or two there, But if I'm just going for a run to the local coffee shop, relative to just walking there, I'm actually saving time, getting a bit of cardio in, making sure all that KFC doesn't hit too hard, and we're still going to get big. Another benefit of getting the caffeine first, so you have the warm up, get the sunlight, because you're on that walk slightly, and the caffeine is also kind of like pre-workout. So if you go to the gym regularly, you probably know what pre-workout is. You take it pre-working out, wild stuff, and the principle is just, dials you in a bit, helps you focus, helps you feel more awake, and do more effort in the same amount of time. So there's a lot of benefits to doing it this way, but obviously if you're not into coffee or whatever, you don't have to. It's just the way that I roll. Yeah, another thing that I'm pretty big on, especially on tour, is trying not to eat for the first few hours of the day. So the reason that I do that is because I don't like to gig and feel like I have to go to the bathroom. That's the worst feeling. And, bathrooms in green rooms aren't always the most pleasant places to be. So if you don't eat anything in the morning, then, you can have a bit of food in your stomach before the show, like an hour before the show, but it won't sort of, make you feel like in the middle of the third song, like, ooh man, wish it is the bathroom before the gig. It's also good for fat loss, if that's what you're into. And, one of the tough things about being on tour all the time is just the lifestyle that accommodates it, because you end up getting a lot of fast food. Grocery shops may not be open after, gigs finished. And so there's definitely an element of just trying not to gain too much bad weight. Alrighty, music masterers, we have worked up a sweat, we have acquired our caffeine hit for the day, and now it's time to get into a little bit of workout. So there's what I would normally do on tour, and then there's what I did the most recent time. So normally I would like to find a nice open patch of ground, find sidewalk where there's no one around, because I'm a bit shy and nervous and all that, and then I'll do some push-ups, find a tree branch, do some pull-ups, and pretty much just repeat until I'm exhausted, and then I'll do some wall squats and walk home. But unfortunately, when I was on tour in Tamworth, that was not at all a viable option. Long story short, there is a lot of dirt and a lot of dust in Tamworth, and so all of the trees weren't really healthy enough to do pull-ups. Push-up situation was really dusty, and I just didn't really want to touch the ground. And also, just for complete authenticity, I'm wearing the same slides that I was wearing when I was out there, because when I left in the morning, I wasn't really thinking that far ahead. I kind of just rolled out of bed and got after it. So since we're recreating it, and everyone knows how to do a push-up, I'll show you what I chose to do instead. So the criteria almost became that I have to stay on my feet the whole time, and I have to not utilize anything natural. I like doing it in a park because I get the sunlight, keep the vitamin D, keep me, healthy, looking relatively tanned, and I'm still very pale, but it makes me feel better about myself if I'm not as pasty. But yeah, so with those criteria and not a lot of trees around, here's what I ended up doing. Now we've kind of hit the jackpot here. We actually do have some exercise equipment in this area. So at the end of the video, actually maybe I'll make a separate video, and it'll be something along the lines of how to stay shredded as a musician living at home without a gym membership. I don't know. But in the interests of staying authentic, I'm going to show you what I did while I was out on tour, and I'm going to ignore this lovely real estate. But I've got something special for you. Seeing how this is such a high effort production, I even have a tripod. You, my friend, are going to get a life-size view, just like you were here training with me. I'm a bit of a gym bro, so we're going to use a bit of bro science in here. But if you want real science, I can talk your head off about that in another video. This is just going to be a do it with me, try it yourself, see what you reckon video. And just like that, our tripod is ready to go. Now right behind me we have a fine specimen of a tree where the lowest branch is about, 5 meters up. So that's obviously inaccessible, but we're going to use it anyway. We're going to use this for our pushing exercise. So the gist of this one is pretty much, we're just going to use this. We're not going to get on the floor, but we're going to do push-ups on an angle into the tree. So if you can't really do much of a push-up and you go on this kind of angle, you're doing the same exercise. But if you can do a bit of a push-up and you come down on this kind of angle, then you're actually going to do a lot of pressure. But the other thing that we can do to add to that is we can keep that lower angle while raising our hands up. And then what that's going to do is it's going to use all of those big lovely tricep muscles and actually take some of the pressure off of our chest. So when we're pushing around road cases and such, yes, we use our chest, but that's a really easy muscle to just sort of get, and it won't fatigue as quickly. But the tricep is the muscle that's like always going to be a tough one to maintain on tour. Like if you're on tour for a month, when you get back, your chest is just going to explode because you hit the gym and you're sweet. But these triceps, they just come and they go very quickly, so they are essential for us to be training. So as I say, we're going to start with this lower angle, walk our hands up, and then push into the tree like that. So I did just get my head there. I checked a awkward little spot, but just doing that, it takes all the pressure off the chest, puts it all into the tricep fluid. And so I'm going to try and do these for as long as I can until I get exhausted. So now that I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some extra reps in by starting to use the chest as well. So I'm just going to incorporate it in just to force some extra reps on the triceps. Which means I'm just doing the normal ones. Now that that's done, we're on a pulling exercise. Problem with pulling exercises is that you need to have something to pull, and I didn't bring an amp on this little adventure, but I've got something for you. So, I've got a park bench here, but when I was on tour, there's always cars around, there's always vans around, but sometimes you get lucky, and there's like trailer stages hanging around. And so, instead of actually lifting them up, what we're going to do is we're just going to put all that force into an object that won't move. So we're still going to activate all the muscles, it's going to stay in the one spot. Less range of motion, but I also don't need to kick off the slides. So literally, I'm just going to deadlift this, and we're just going to see how it goes. See if I can lift it. Now you probably can't tell, but like everything on my back was firing up on that. Now if you use a car, you're going to be starting even lower, and so you need to make sure that you have the mobility for it. But if you can't find a car that's appropriate, you'll be able to find like a countertop. Just be gentle with it, or a park bench like this. But you know, respect other people's property, obviously, and only do things if you are pretty confident that it'll be fine. So that one rep, about 5 seconds maximum exertion, and we're going to do that 5 times in total. So I know that it's not moving, and it's probably hard to tell, but I'm actually putting a lot of effort into it. I might move the camera a bit closer for this next one so you can really get an idea of like how much force I'm putting into it. I don't know if that made any difference for you, being able to see it from there, but yeah. It's a very good exercise, even if it does only last for like 3 or 4 seconds. Alright, last one. I'll count to 5 for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it is as easy as that. The final thing that we've got in our push-pull leg split, so we've got to hit some legs. Now, I am a fiend for not hitting legs, I will say, but I did actually hit them the other day when I was in Tamworth. So pretty much all that it was, very quick, very simple. I didn't want to touch the ground, and there was no flat surface for me to put my back up on. Like, it was literally the tree and the trailer stage, which had like all the triangular rebar crane kind of things. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up doing sets of Cossack squats. Let me show you. So this is how you do a Cossack squat. So you start just squatting as low as you can go, pretty much. And then all that you're going to do is you're going to stick each leg out one at a time until you end up doing that rah-rah Rasputin dance move. So, right leg out. That. Great. Awesome. And then swapping to the other one. Now, if you want to go really advanced with this one, because that's already like using a lot of force and alternating angles, but if you want to go really intense, what you'll do is you'll start on one, like this, so more or less Spider-Man, and then swap to the other. Now I'm holding my hands in front for balance, but you can put them wherever you want. If you want to try and tap your head while you're up your tummy, you can do that too. Oh man, that's tough. So many actions at once. This is like a drummer's best nightmare. Now you can see my foot was sliding around a little bit. It's because I'm in the slides. It's kind of in the name. But ideally, if you're wearing sneakers or something, you'd be able to maintain full contact the whole time. And so those are the Cossack squats, some people call them archer squats, but also just doing this and like doing the campfire squats for a little bit, especially if you get your heels on the ground, they'll actually activate a few of the muscles as well and just keep you going for a bit of time. And like, who doesn't want to be able to just sit down all day like this? But the thing is, most people can't because their ankles aren't flexible enough. So on the walk home, we're going to fix that. Mad! So our 3 maintenance exercises, push-pull legs, we're done. That means that gym time is over. Or so you would think. Because another really important part of it all is flexibility. And yeah, we all know like the simple like touch your toes and your butterfly stretches. But one thing that people don't stretch is ankles. And so just when you're walking, one of the things that you can do to start stretching your ankles, really quick and simple, is you can try and shift your weight from front to back, and that'll force your ankle to go to different angles. So if you kind of like sit back in your walk, put your feet in front of you, it's going to lightly stretch out the front of your ankle. But if you kind of walk like you're falling forward almost, that's actually going to stretch out the back of your ankle. And, you know, it's a really cool, fun thing to do. Well, it's not cool if anyone sees you, but, you know. Yeah. So, I'm going to try and hold the phone far enough away to demonstrate. Maybe I should just get a new video. So with your weight backwards. Check it. What is it? Your weight forward. Can't make it look like that. So if you just do that on the walk back, it's just going to give you a really good excuse to stretch out your ankles. And, you know, you can just alternate them. You'll probably find that one's a lot more comfortable than the other. For me, personally, I know that my dorsiflexion is pretty weak, and so that's the one that I try to spend a bit more time in. And going up hills, and down hills as well, is also really great, but that just depends on your geography, and that's totally up to you. Now, part of the title was getting shredded on tour, and a lot of being shredded has to do with what you eat, not how you exercise. But the way that you exercise is going to just help maintain the muscles that you've got, and also burn a couple of calories here and there, you know, especially that run at the start. That's going to get your heart rate up, keep you going. But if you want to learn more about what to eat when on tour to stay in good shape, maybe even lose fat while you're on tour, then make sure that you subscribe, and possibly there'll be a video right there where I'm going to go into detail on it and give you a full guide, because most musicians end up doing the KJM diet, so KFC, Hungry Jack's and Macca's, or Burger King if you're outside Australia. And doing that diet is all well and good if you don't really mind about your weight and you're not going to be on tour for long and all that. But, you know, for maybe even less money, you can actually get better meals, more filling, more nutritious, and will not only keep you like satiated, but also help you lose fat while you're on tour, which is pretty sweet, you know. No weird diets, just not eating crap makes a huge difference. So as I say, if you want more of that type of stuff, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, because I'm telling you right now that the very next video is going to be about diet. Stay classy, music mastery.